Welcome to Progressive Rock Central and the Noble Shire for progressive discussion. Today we have the Nine Skies band from France, and they have one awesome album out there, The Lightmaker. It's sort of a tribute to Eric, and they'll talk a little bit about that as well. And it's it brings back memories of early Pendragon when they were still making some fantastic music, IQ, all those great 80s bands that I loved from the progressive rock era of the 80s. So welcome Anne Claire, Alexandre, Charlie, and Alexis. We got a full house here for the Noble Shire, and this is part two. And hope y'all like the decorations. And do you guys want to say anything? And go ahead and yeah.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so great.
It's a pleasure to be here. This is my first official engagement for Nine Skies since being announced as the vocalist, starting with the UK tour in March next year. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. And that's so great.
Well, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. That wasn't going to be my first question, but I think it is an excellent first question. Tell us, Charlie, what it's like, how it happened, how you were brought in, and what do you think of these guys? I think you're going to say good things, I hope.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was already a huge fan of these guys from their previous work. The first one I actually heard was the 520 album. Absolutely stunning. I've worked with Eric Bietti on another project, Nova Cascade, so that's kind of the connection that we have there. Eric obviously being a beautiful person, a great musician, and it is such an honor to be invited by the Nine Skies people to join them for the tour, and hopefully for the future.
Have you guys started yet? Or no, you said March.
Yeah,
but you didn't. You haven't. Well, how did the auditions go? That's what I'm trying to hit at.
Well, I think my audition was the vocal part for the song "The Haunted" that you can hear on the Lightmaker album. During the summer, Alexandre and Anne-Claire called me and asked if I would like to sing a song on the album, and obviously the answer was going to be yes. And when I heard the music, even better, because it's just a really inspiring piece of music. I really enjoyed recording that for the guys, and then to be invited to do more with Nine Skies, you just couldn't say no.
All right, and just generally, I mean, I open the question for whoever wants to, and hopefully each of you are going to comment on it. But tell us your idea of the Lightmaker, how it emerged, how the idea for that concept evolved. And I think even knows a little bit about the story and of Rudy. I'm going to let you guys tell that, but go ahead. But yeah, if each of you could maybe talk about that, your perspective.
Non, vas-y, Anne-Claire.
En même temps. Non, tu veux y aller ou?
Non, je pense que tu peux parler de l'histoire et puis après on parle de la musique et voilà, hein, c'est...
Well, actually, so for the birth, I can say that of the album with Alex, we haven't really talked about what we would do, for Nine Skies after Eric's passing, and it took us a bit of time. It's natural, but when we started to talk about that, at the first point we were thinking of doing an album, but not a Nine Skies album to pay homage. And to pay tribute. And finally, we decided that the best way to do that was to go on with the band. So that's what we did. And that's how the Lightmaker came. And this is a concept album because we used to that, even if 520 wasn't really a concept. Yeah, as you said, it's about the story of Rudy and he's leaving his I think it's 1001 Live, and we talk about a bit of character and a few, of course not all of them, but a few lives he had, and through the way of the various characters. That's why we have different singers on each song, but we will talk about that. I think Alex will explain more with the music. But for the concept, that's how it came, really.
Yeah, well, on Lightmaker is a strange album in a way, because the concept came from Anne-Claire and me, and after it was I used to compose with Eric, and this time was not the same. So I was in front of, Cubase or whatever software you have in front of you to make music, and that was a blank space, so ideas came, from the demos, and but actually that was very scary to compose this album, and it's still scary to show for this album personally to people. But when the concept arrived, we had a direction to go, so there was no real meaning to every ideas I had or she had, but we started to form something on the way, because we were kind of lost in a way, but things arrived more and more, and pressure as well, because that's really not a common album, you could say. So but the fact is that now we have a new lineup. We will talk about that more, but we have a new members on the band, so you have kind of a new band, and these guys brought life to all of it. So I composed the demo, but they brought life to all of those songs, so it's kind of a band album, but I wish in the future people would be more involved in the composition, because I wanted just to pay tribute to Eric in my way of composing, but these guys like Alexis and Johnny and Charlie and Claire and everyone, they brought life to that. So it's kind of a band album in a way, of also like that, So yeah, it just came naturally. That there is no real explanation on how those songs came to life. It just came to life, It was just like that. There is no real thing, like real mental, process to that. We just played music, and I just composed music, and that's it. This is just music and love through that, and just paying tribute and just saying, you were here, but you're still here. And yeah, that's the main concept personally to this album for me. So
As a listener,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, as a listener, the love that ties that album together is what makes it a Nine Skies album. Each song sounds so different. Each one's got a different voice. Each one's got a different style. But listening to the whole piece, it all makes sense. And I think that love for Eric really shines through in that.
That was the main goal, yes.
I think what defined the album early on was the first song, The Explorer, because that song came in a way that it was almost unexpected. That well, we were not expecting to make music together, and very quickly we put this song out with all the parts, and there was a bit of a gap between the Explorer and the rest, but really the Explorer kicked off. I think that kicked off a lot of the ideas that went later into the album. I don't know if you felt like that, but for me, really, it defined what the album would be.
Yeah, like The Explorer is the first one I composed. The first line I composed was just this little riff, and everything came after that. So he brought this amazing bass line. Johnny brought the drums. We did the atmosphere, and everything was there on the Explorer, and after we just had to, you know, to search what we can do after. But yeah, you're right. The Explorer is kind of the core of the album, you know. Even if that's a single, it just sums up the atmosphere and the line of vision of the album. Yes, definitely. So that's it.
Anyone else?
Unclear?
No, I think we already.
There are millions of things we could talk about, but I think the main thing about this album is that it represents what Eric was, which means a man, an explorer, a hunted, a lost person, but also an architect of the sound. Like everything was that. But also what it means is that there are so many people involved, because we are used to bring guests to our albums, to our previous album. But this one was more than that. There is a new lineup, there are guests, there are 50 people in the choir for someone. So there's so much people
That's
involved
bigger,
that it brings people together. So that's the attraction of people together that makes the Lightmaker. You know, this is the core, and everyone is around, and that's the main thing about this album. You know,
I think you just nailed it. That was excellent.
Sorry, everybody brings a lot of his personal, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And as I said, there are so many people that's the thing I love. I'm not sure that's real or that's the way I feel it, but it's both something really for Eric that you can say, okay, that's him, as Alex said. But in the meantime, that's why I like to write, you know, the way I like the lyrics. That everyone can interpret the thing for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel your own part of that story in this story. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's also that.
mean, all right, you keep talking about the lineup, and that is an excellent question. Tell us about how the lineup has changed and how that is going to forecast a different third album.
Maybe I could start because after the previous album 520 was released, shortly after the first change of lineup occurred, and that's when I got a phone call. I'll always remember that day. So I got a phone call from Eric. He used to call me randomly sometimes, and we would talk. But that time he had something to ask me, and he asked me if I would like to join Nine Skies, and I was a bit terrified by the prospect of. I mean, I was a fan of the band, but to me it was really a kind of untouchable, musically untouchable project. So I was feeling very insecure. So I had to think about it, but yeah, it didn't take me more than a couple of days to decide. Yeah, I can't pass that opportunity. And so that was the first change of the lineup. Yeah, in the lineup, then shortly after we recorded a couple of videos for the extended version of 520, where my first contribution was that, but otherwise the lineup was still the same. And later there were other changes. Yeah, our drummer Fab announced that he felt that he well, for personal reason, really he wanted to move away.
His band, he launches his band with, you know, his own composition, and maybe the style was more not really massive prog, you know. Prog, and so it was just, you know, commitments and, well, you know, things like that. I mean, we still. The good thing is that we're still in good terms with everyone, with
That's
big
important.
changes yeah, we had a lot of changes in the lineup, but yeah. So
And maybe then, Anne-Claire, you can continue from there, because that's that you contacted Johnny. So I don't know how that came about. I was
indeed, well, we knew Johnny for a while because we met him like a few years ago now. When we settled in England, he was teaching in the same school than Eric was, and we met him like that. So he was a friend already. We went to see him live with the SAS band, and in Guildford in England when he was playing, and he was a really, really good friend. And I mean, when we had to look for a drummer, of course we knew a few ones, but it was like an evidence that we had to ask him, and because even Eric already talked before he talked about Alexis, he talked about Johnny. It was an option, and yeah, when we asked him to join, he was so keen about the ideas. So we were really, really happy about that.
What a drummer! What a drummer! That's just an unbelievable human being, really, like humanly and musically as well. Like it's like all those members that are actually the lineup, we couldn't think of anyone better for this situation to have. Like this is probably the perfect lineup right now with all the situation. It was hard to find, but well, not hard to find, but hard to decide as well. But that this is just perfect, like ready. Like everyone is involved in the same vision to go to the same vision as a band, no divergences or something. So and the level is quite good, like really is really good. So we can really discuss about music in a way that we couldn't maybe think about, not because of the level but because of the vision, because maybe the other members wanted to go to other styles, which is completely fine, but maybe Nine Skies went into another direction, and it's just a matter of personal taste and everything, so but this is really perfect for the continuation of Nine Skies right now.
The cherry on the cake,
Let's
because, we haven't finished, there's still one member, which is the cherry on the cake, we can say, because for the live we thought about the lineup, and obviously Alex will switch from the keyboards to take Eric place at the guitars, and then we needed the keyboard and the pianist, and we had a few thoughts about a few people, but then we found like an evidence once again. So we were really lucky with
yes. Leo is here. Yeah,
Leo
Leo is a friend of Eric and a friend of ours. I did a lot of projects with him as well, and he went to other bands as well. And he's an extraordinary pianist and keyboardist as well. And he just nailed it. Even if he didn't record on the album, on the previous tour, he just nailed it. So of course he's a part of it. So that's so great to have him as well.
Okay, let's change the conversation from music for just a second to artwork. As you can see, I'm a big fan of album covers, and your album cover is absolutely fantastic. That cold wind blowing through the Valley of the Poppies is spectacular. Tell me how you came up with that concept, because again, well, there's a long story. I'm not going to get into it, but basically, IQ put a cover on their album, which made them look like former Genesis, which as you can see, I'm a big Genesis fan. I would have never, ever picked up an IQ album if not for that picture. But I picked that up, and now I have their whole catalog. But so a cover can mean a lot, and you guys put a lot of effort into it. So talk a little bit about that painting, poster, whatever you want to call it, but the album cover is excellent.
Well, we thought to come. Yeah.
No, I mean the cover. There is a cover on the album, but it went actually through a couple of changes. The original there was an original cover that probably wasn't nearly as good as the final one. Yeah, and yeah, I mean the goal was always to show the central character of the story in different settings. So it's actually more than just one cover. It's each song that has its own setting and landscape. Actually, I didn't participate in the in the conception, so maybe Alex and Anne-Claire, you would describe that in more detail, how it came to be. But yeah, that's really tied to the concept of the album.
Exactly, that's tied like that. That's the concept, because we thought with the ancient cover, it was good, but it was reminding a lot of what we did previously before if we show it. So we thought about, no, let's have a push on that. Let's have more impact on it. And what we just did is that with Anne-Claire, we just searched for a concept, did some kind of research on how we can really put on the central part of the artwork just the character, and everything is evolving around him, So we searched and we did, and we collaborate with Steve Anderson, which is a really good infographist or infographer. I don't know how we say it, but people who does artworks. And the fact is that at the first one, we didn't want to stop at once. We just wanted to do everything for the whole album. So 8 tracks, 8 artworks. So, and that's the musical and the artwork identity of the album is really like really important on this one, because the other one were good, but just the artwork, not all the songs. And this one has all the songs incorporated in few artworks. So there is such a visual impact on that, and we wanted that as well.
Important, very, very important.
Well, you used to Nine Skies album since a while, so you know that we always consider that the visual is really important,
Yes.
as much as the music, or especially for us, that because it's really conceptual, and the album we did and we're still doing a lot of concept, and the visual really takes a lot of part. It's really important. And as Alex said, when we thought about the first one, the first picture we had for the front wasn't really bad, but we were starting to think, okay, we need to do more and to do like something coherent, like a big thing can get together. And with that one, we were trying to imagine the other one, and it doesn't fit. It wasn't. Nothing was fitting. So we just start again, and everything came at once. So that's cool.
Yes.
Anyone else want to talk about the artwork, or?
Well,
just get the CD if you want to enjoy the booklet that contains all the artworks and not just the front cover, because really the front cover is I mean, as excellent as it is, it's only a small fraction of what this album has to offer visually.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
It has
as
also,
Alexander said, there's artwork for each song, which
yes,
pull the concepts together.
and there is also a color code, how we say, because when we talk about the track The Lost, it's all in blue and black and gray, but when we talk about The Dreamer, it's all in orange and yellow. So everything has really a vibe musically, but also really on the color, and that's really good, because every song has a different singer, a different vibe, different instrument and everything. So everything is kind of an album in its own. Each song is a mini album on its own, you know. So if we can say that. So yes, that's also,
right.
that was also important for us.
Definitely. All right, the first song is The Explorer, and yeah, that definitely is my favorite. And I've noticed you guys have kind of agreed with that. Tell us a little bit about that wonderful keyboard, and because that song has some of the best keyboards on the album.
Thank you. Well, the keyboards in it, I composed them as you know, as a 70s kind of proggy vibe, you know. I wanted, you know, a kind of a turnaround every time with every layer going differently, and Alexis on the bass added a layer too, so there is 5 different layers that comes through
Wow.
that. And also, if you talk about layers of just the synth, there is a female voice. I don't know if you heard it doing some like that. You know, it's actually my girlfriend that sang this part because this is not a sample or just a keyboard. This is a real voice. So we added a lot of ethnic vibe to it, just to get a kind of an explorational an exploration, you know, really on a single about that. So it took a lot of time actually really to get this vibe, but it's as it is. So, and we don't want to do it on live like with a sample. We don't have all the, you know, the ethnic thing and everything, but that's okay, because, you know, on the CD we have that, and that's the most important, you know. But yes, 5 different layers coming together, and sometimes they are going out, sometimes they are going in, you know. It's just like going
It
like
weaves.
that.
Yeah, it weaves. The symphonic masterpiece, definitely. Anyone else want to talk about it?
Yeah, a fun fact about this this tune is there is a theme, the main theme with the harmonized guitars. That theme actually repeats three times in the song. And when I first listened to the demo, so I started working on the bass line, and when I was happy with what I had, so I wanted to just record a demo, and that's when I realized that the thing is actually in different keys each time, because the song modulates so much that it never falls back on the same key. After each section, it goes to a different key, and so it repeats without really repeating. That's a bit of a challenge to play, of course, but it's one of those instances where the meaning and the musical content match with each other. So the both the message of an exploration, so a movement, and the harmonic structure is also always in movement. I think that's kind of neat that you did that, Alex.
Well, the harmonic maybe on this song is the most complicated of the whole album, and even if that's a single and that's the most maybe known one on the album, but that's the most complicated. And I don't know why. I just love modulations, you know. I can't just do something about it. And but yeah, I remember Alexis, because when we were rehearsing for the tour, he was saying, but you know what? I don't know. I wanted to play the same key, but you didn't, and I was not aware about that. You know? I said, yeah, you know, sorry. But yeah, we had fun playing this song on live too as well. So that's yeah, that's a fun song to play. Yes.
Some musical parts from The Explorer that came back at other places in the album.
Yes, on the album, there, if you listen closely on the Architect, at the end of the Architect, there is the theme of the Explorer at the end of the album as well, and also at the end of the Haunted, where Mr. Charlie Bramald is just
Narrating.
talking, yes. At the end, there are just few notes of piano, and this is not the same key, but it is the theme of the Explorer. Ta-dam, boom, bum. There is just a lot of different chords, but it is the same theme. So all of it is just like sparks of the Explorer as well. So yeah.
I'd love to give a shout out to Ricardo's vocal on the Explorer as well.
Yeah,
It's
Ricardo,
just
yes. Yes.
Ricardo, pardon.
Yeah, let's talk about Ricardo. Oh my God.
I mean,
Yeah,
that vocal part really set the scene for how I would approach my own vocal later on the Haunted. It's just got such perfect delivery throughout. It's got dynamic range. It's got those beautiful soft opening lines, and once he breaks out to